All right, welcome to Up to the Minute. It is hashtag finally Friday. We're here. You made it through the work week, a full one this week, and good to see you with us. To wrap up the week, we got some special guests. We're going to get to those in just a moment. It's beautiful outside. If you haven't been outside yet, a little chilly, a little overcast, but the sun is now out. Things are looking good for the weekend. At least we don't have to deal with what the folks up in the Northeast are dealing with. Tony, have you ever been through a cyclone bomb?
No, and don't want to.
Yeah, but we've been through hurricanes. So I think that they're saying this is comparable to a hurricane, but with snow. What can make a hurricane worse? Snow.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you think the heat is a problem.
Well, for me, coming to work today, there were traffic all over the place. I mean, what Houston has, it's not a cyclone, it's not snow, but you don't go anywhere. So it's very frustrating. So, hey, we all have our own burdens to carry.
Yeah, well, our thoughts are with the folks in the Northeast because they've got some bad weather happening their way. So they're saying feet of snow, things that would just cripple our city for months,
Oh, we would. We couldn't handle it at all.
Nope. Hey, so let's get into the show. We've got a good show lined up for you. Thank you for those of you watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. We're here every morning, every weekday morning when HCC is in session. We're live at 10 a.m. on Facebook and YouTube, and you can always catch the rebroadcast of our shows on HCCTV at noon, 5, and now for your viewing pleasure, 10 p.m. as well. Forget those Seinfeld and Carol Burnett reruns. You can watch Up to the Minute at 10 p.m. on HCC.
We're so much better, right?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm torn between Carol Burnett and Up to the Minute. Carol Burnett usually wins.
I know. You got to weigh it. Weigh it.
I'm a big Carol Burnett fan. Okay. Tony, tell them where they can find us in social media.
Well, you can find us, of course, in Facebook and YouTube, but also LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. But look for Houston Community College District, because if you just go to HCC, there's a whole lot of those out there. But we're Houston Community College District. Follow us and you'll enjoy us. It's better than Carol Burnett.
It's not. Well, that's debatable. We could go on for that for half an hour.
Oh, that's right. It was debatable. I forgot.
Things about Carol Burnett.
Just join us.
I don't know. Let's ask our next guest because you'll be talking with our next guest. It's Film Friday, and we've got Cary Darling joining us from the Houston Chronicle. Cary, were you ever good to see you again, by the way. Thanks for being here. Were you ever a Carol Burnett fan?
Oh, I've seen reruns of the old show. She's very funny.
Yeah, they've got some good things on the show. You've got some things you want to tell us about, some new movies that we've already been talking about before we went on the air, some things we're going to talk about, and also streaming options. So stick around. We're going to be with you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Cary. We're going to kick things off with one of the presidents of HCC's colleges. The president of HCC Central College, Dr. Muddassir Siddiki, is joining us this morning. Good to see you, Dr. Siddiki. Did you ever watch Carol Burnett?
I think I did. Yeah. And very interesting, very interesting.
That's a good way of putting it. It's interesting. Yeah. You got one character that can play about 10, all throughout the show. So that's what makes it interesting. Hey, you guys are back in session, of course, with a brand new spring semester at HCC Central College. And I know an announcement was just made that in-person classes are starting up again. That's got to be very exciting for you and your staff and faculty.
Absolutely. Todd, on January 2nd, due to increasing number of COVID-19 infection cases,
right,
HCC decided to move classes online, which were already scheduled online. And for workforce classes, because they require a great deal of hands-on experience,
right,
students are asked to come to the campus with all safety precaution and, everything. So I can tell you this was a wonderful experience. I'm excited about Monday when we're coming back to HCC and serving our students.
Let me ask you this, because some students may be a bit concerned about safety and the precautions. Maybe you can tell them, for students who haven't been to the campus in a while, what they can expect when they arrive on Monday morning.
So, Todd, one of the most important things for HCC in its short-term and long-term policies is safety of all, safety of students, faculty, staff, and community at large. So we are very sensitive about the health and the well-being of our students. We design our classes to ensure there's a social distancing. We strongly encourage the use of mask just to protect or prevent diffusion of the problem. And also we, student can use sanitizer, napkins. They are available at the major building doors. It's available to student free of cost. So we are trying our best to protect the health of students through social distancing, providing some materials and scheduling.
Right. And because of the social distancing, I know a lot of the classes are smaller than normal. Smaller, if people hadn't gone to in-person classes really since the pandemic started, they're going to notice they're very small to keep in line with practicing social distancing. And that would mean early registration is a big deal. I know we've already started the spring semester. We've started the second start, but we have year-round enrollment here at HCC, and there's still time for students to get some classes in before the spring is over with if they register now.
Absolutely. Early registration is very important, not only from a student perspective, but also from institutional perspective. From a student perspective, it's important because you ensure you are in a class before you go to the wait list or, the session is closed, the section is closed. It's much better to plan ahead, register yourself in the class, and then that will give you enough time to procure the material, the test book, and other required material for the class. For institution, if we know, for example, how many students are registered in the class, we can add more sections.
Right.
And like you said, the classes are with a small number of students just to follow CDC guideline and social distancing regulations. It will help us in building more sections and inform our faculty member to put in their schedule those new sections. Because it provides a lot of flexibility to institution, and also provide a lot of flexibility to students.
And I would imagine those classes that students are taking, the basic classes that they will come to HCC before maybe they transfer to one of our university partners, those classes fill up fast when we talk the basic English, communications, or math, or things along those lines. They're going to fill up pretty quickly, I would imagine.
That's true. Classes, I would say transfer classes, we call academic programs classes. They feel very fast. So I encourage through this this conversation, I encourage students, please go ahead, register yourself as soon as you can. Don't wait for the last day of the semester.
One of the big concerns for our students, I know when I was going to college, was financing. How am I going to pay for this? Waiting for payday. We have a number of ways to help students finance. And from what I hear, now's the best time to go to a community college because we've got so many funding sources.
That's very true. And Todd, community colleges are inherently very affordable institutions.
Right.
With providing best-in-class education to students. So there are multiple avenues for students. I know finance is a challenge for many students. They can apply for payment plan. They can look for a scholarship, and they can still apply for HERF-3 funding. I think that the due date is January 28.
Yeah, that's today. So you got to get that.
So please, for spring 2022 students, please apply for HERF money. The money is there for you. You just need to complete the form and do it today.
Yeah, and HERF, if you're wondering, that's the Higher Education Emergency Relief Funding in the wake of COVID. If you're interested in that funding, we're going to put some links in our social media posts where you can find it. Dr. Muddassir Siddiki, president of HCC Central College, we wish you the best this semester, and we look forward to seeing you again in person.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks. My best wishes for students in the spring semester and for HCCTV. You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Dr. Siddiqi. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to turn things over to Dr. Tony, who'll be talking with Cary Darling from the Houston Chronicle. Tony, you got a lot of exciting things to talk about.
Yes, we do. There's a lot of fun movies out there. Cary Darling, arts editor and film critic for the Houston Chronicle. Welcome to the show, Cary.
No, thanks for having me.
Well, the award season is heating up. You know that very well. But we're in our second season of COVID. So how is that affecting that?
Well, I think everyone's still in kind of a wait and see mode a bit. I mean, movie theaters are pretty much all open. People are going to see the blockbusters. Obviously Spider-Man did very, very well. It's really affecting kind of the mid-level dramas, the movies that appeal to adults. They really haven't returned in large numbers to theaters. So we'll have to see how that shakes out this year.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of movies to talk about. So let's start. Parallel Mothers. I thought that was pretty interesting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, the latest film from the Spanish director, Pedro Almodovar. And it stars Penelope Cruz, who's been in a lot of his movies, and it's one of his best movies. It's about two women who sort of bond over having children at the same time. They're in the same hospital ward in Madrid, and they become friends and sort of bond over childbirth. And it's a really, really good movie about women's relationships.
Very moving, very moving. And then there's another moving film, and you wouldn't think it would be because it's animated, but it's an animated documentary. This is something kind of new to the industry, and it's about fleeing Afghanistan. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's, it may actually end up being nominated in 3 categories: documentary, animation, and foreign language film, what they call international film now. So that in itself would be unusual if it gets nominated or wins in those categories. But yeah, it's a documentary about a man. His name is it's actually a pseudonym, but it's based on a real person who fled Afghanistan for Russia and then fled Russia and ended up in Denmark. And it's you wouldn't think an animated movie could be so sort of realistic like a documentary, but it really is.
In a way, I kind of think it hits the heart even more because it is animated, because it allows the audience to use their imagination and go further than just what's on the screen. So I think it kicks off the imagination, and then you fill in the blanks, and it can be a whole lot more directed toward the heart. I thought it was wonderful.
And the animation is not, people think it's like Pixar or Disney. It's not. It's much more like a graphic novel type of animation.
Yes, it is graphic novel. It reminded me kind of the Japanese stuff, but not quite so much. So that was really neat. Then there's also, of course, this is going to be my favorite. I think I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the trailer, but Serenimo, but it's a musical.
Yes,
and it's got one of my favorite actors in it.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage is in it. It's Cyrano, and people probably know the basic story from Roxanne, the old Steve Martin movie. So this is based on the same, the original source material of Cyrano de Bergerac. But Peter Dinklage is the main character this time, and it's a musical, and the music is written by 2 guys from the band, The National. So it has elements of their style in it, but it's very unique.
And just because it's a musical doesn't mean that it's not serious, because I think it is. I think it's very moving.
Yeah, it's very serious, very moving. There's one music sequence near the end that, some people, tear up through. So, it's quite moving.
So go see it. It's good. And then there's someone from Texas, an award nominee from Texas. Jockey, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Jockey's a film. It's actually set in Arizona, but the filmmakers are from Texas. Greg Quadar, who co-wrote and produced, lives in Austin. He's from Fort Worth, and Clint Bentley is from Dallas. And they actually did part of the research here in Houston. They came down to Sam Houston Racetrack, but it's about the life of an aging itinerant jockey and kind of his health issues and trying to stay, in the saddle. He has to face younger competition and increasing health issues. So it's a very good character study. Clifton Collins Jr. stars, and he's quite good in it.
I read some background about jockeys and their careers. They can be pretty short. They're athletes just like any of the other athletes, but they can incur some pretty difficult and sometimes fatal injuries, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And he's not, a highly paid jockey, so he needs every cent he can. So he's trying to stay in the saddle as long as he can.
And I saw something about the director, that the director's father was a jockey, a real jockey, right?
Right. That's where he got the idea for the story from. His father was basically a lot like the character that he writes about.
So it's very moving also. Speaking of more movies, The Worst Person in the World. Oh my God, you would think that this is a murder mystery thing, but it's not.
No, not at all.
Tell us about that.
It's a Norwegian movie, and on the surface it seems like a sort of a rom-com, but it's much deeper than that. It's very melancholy, and it's definitely well worth seeing. It opens next month, as Jockey opens on the 4th, and I believe it opens on the 4th as well, February.
And like you say, it's both drama but it has comedy in it. The comedy is, I think, the wit and the talking that they do to each other, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not really laugh out loud funny, but it's just very smart and witty.
And it's from what I can see in the trailers, it seems to be pretty moving. It's very interesting. It's different, I would say, just different.
Hey, Tony, can I jump in for a second? Because I wanted to ask Cary something here. I watched Cary a couple of weeks ago, Being the Ricardos, which was on Amazon. I'm sure you've had a chance to see that and review it as well. So the acting in it, I wanted to get your impression on that, because I really wasn't impressed with the main actors, but I was very impressed with J.K. Simmons in his portrayal.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and now they're talking possibly an award for him for Best Supporting Actor. What are your thoughts towards him? He seems to be an amazing actor. In this role, he brought so much that I personally didn't know about the character and the man behind the character, Fred. What was your impressions of the movie and that character itself?
I liked the movie. I know some people criticized it. People wanted Deborah Messing to play Lucille Ball, but I think the movie wasn't about recreating the comedy of the show, which I think Deborah probably would have been better at that. But I think getting sort of the behind the scenes drama, and I think Nicole Kidman did a good job with that. But J.K. Simmons is fantastic. I mean, I've liked him ever since he was in that show Oz, from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's always been good, and it's nice to see him get recognition for this.
And the woman who played Ethel as well, I know she's been in Goliath. She has an incredible role in Goliath, and she played the role as well. She was great.
Yeah. I thought the entire cast was good.
Yeah. All right, Tony, go ahead. I just had to jump in and talk.
Oh no, I love Lucy. I love Lucy. I saw the movie. I had to see it because she was one of my favorite actresses, comedians, and serious and otherwise. But I looked at it and I thought it was great. I like seeing behind the scenes. Yeah. I mean, it's great to do the historic whatever, and but it's behind the scenes that really matter. And in my opinion, especially for an actor or an actress, what they go through behind and then what they show you in front of the cameras, two entirely different things. That's why they call them actors and actresses.
Well, the show was pretty revolutionary for its time. You had sort of a bicultural couple. I know he's speaking Spanish, and they wanted to show an actual pregnancy on television, which wasn't done at the time. So they broke a lot of ground, which might seem sort of trite now these days, 60 years later, but at the time it was pretty monumental.
Yeah, I don't think we all realize how monumental it was when she revealed she was pregnant on the show, had the child on the show. I mean, we were still facing times where they'd have husbands and wives' beds separate. They both slept in single beds. That's the way life was on TV back then.
Yeah.
I was going to say that because I remember they were twin beds.
Yeah.
And her husband and wife, they couldn't show them together in the same bed. And then
I think the Brady Bunch broke that rule. I think the Brady Bunch broke that rule with Mike and Carol having the same bed.
Yeah, they had a lot of rules and regulations back then. Not that we don't now, but they're totally different. So anyways.
And she was
also,
a woman in charge as well, which was the producer.
Very domineering.
Yes, very. It was innovative, you would say. Now, just real quick, we have a couple of things. The HBO and some of the streaming videos or TV shows we have. What about Peacemaker?
Yeah, Peacemaker is it's a spinoff from the Suicide Squad movie. Same director, James Gunn, and it's John Cena playing his Peacemaker character. It's very funny. It's very witty. It's, even though it's based on a superhero character, it's sort of R-rated. So I don't know if I would necessarily, if you have kids, for them to watch it. But it's very, very funny. Very sort of
not your normal superhero.
Sort of bit of that sort of Deadpool sort of sense of humor.
And The Straits. Now that's an old
it's an old show.
Series.
It's a 10-year-old show from Australia. But the reason it's interesting is Brian Cox plays the head of a family, and he's quite vicious and mean, sort of presaging what he does in Succession. So if you're a Succession fan and you like Brian Cox in that, you should seek out this show called The Straits, Straits, and you can see it on Amazon Prime. It only lasted one season, but it's quite good.
I saw some like an old trailer of it, and it was pretty bloody and pretty. Definitely action-packed.
He heads a crime family. They're trying to smuggle drugs and guns into Australia through Papua New Guinea. So that's the backdrop.
I think I've seen that in the past. If it's been out there before, I'm fairly certain I've seen that show. It was a great show. Cary, we always appreciate having you on the show. Thank you for being here and bringing us up to date with what's out there for movies and what people can watch online.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Cary.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. we're going to get to our news and announcements for the morning. We've got a number of them to go through, but one thing we want to highlight because it's coming up on Monday, her final day. We're talking about Melba Martin. She's been a librarian and many other roles here at HCC. She's retiring after 32 years of service to HCC and the community, Tony, because she wasn't, this was her job here. She took it to heart. She was dedicated to her job here, but she also volunteered for the A-Leaf YMCA, the Rotaract Club. Before this, she worked for TSU. She also worked for Harris County. Realistically, I imagine it's been a lifetime of service for Melba.
Oh, yes. I mean, she's not just retiring from us. Of course, I don't know if she's retiring from all those other things.
I have a feeling she's going to be very active in those volunteer roles. I have a feeling she's still going to be running the show there.
So I think retire is not the right word. Well, just from us.
Yeah, but I do, I know she, I found amazing when we talked to her earlier this week. Her mom worked for HCC. Her sister worked for HCC. And I think she said she had a son that works here as well.
A family affair.
I know. Yeah, certainly a lot of dedication to that family. So we thank her for everything she's done. She's got a retirement party happening from 1 to 3 p.m. Monday, January 31st. We'll have some information on where you can watch it, where you can go in person in the social media post of our show after we're over. Okay, dynamic demonstration, student art winners. This is going to be an exhibition of winning art. It's taking place district-wide, Tony, in person.
At Central Gallery, the Central College, Monday, January 31st. That's this coming Monday through April 9th. The Fine Arts Gallery at HCC Central. It's got all kinds of different mediums, so go see it. And we're happy to be able to have our art galleries open again.
Yes, we are. Okay, National Go Red Day for Women. That's coming up on Friday, February the 4th. That's a week from today. The heart disease is the number one cause of death for women. Hard to believe. But the American Heart Association sponsors the National Go Red for Women Day to bring attention to this and also raise funds for it across the nation. The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Women in Leadership, Student Life, and Rec Sports have joined forces to sponsor a Go Red virtual walk. That's happening Friday, February the 4th. The first 350 people to sign up will receive a Marching to the Beat of a Different Drummer t-shirt. That's pretty cool. Be sure to post your pics on our kudos board using the hashtag HCC the number 4 women. We'll have more information in our social media post after the show. Financial aid students, we're looking for them. We always use them here at HCCTV, Tony.
We definitely use them. We've got several, some in the station right now, but we love to use them. Financial aid office is going to host a virtual work study job fair in February, and all students eligible for work study are encouraged to attend. Keep an eye on your HCC email for more information on how you can take advantage of this virtual job fair. It's a wonderful way to get into something that, you get work experience. It's good to put on a resume. It's excellent. It's Tuesday through Thursday, February 8th through the 10th. And we'll have information about it in our post after the show.
Okay. We talked with Suzette Brimmer yesterday because we've got a very cool thing going on with the Consumer Arts and Sciences Center of Excellence. Stay tuned for that. You'll love it. It's going to be coming up in, I believe, in March. But anyway, we met with Suzette. I didn't get a chance to congratulate her on these kudos, but Suzette Brimmer, the Dean of HCC's Consumer Arts and Sciences Center of Excellence, will participate in an elite national mentoring program for emerging leaders seeking to become the next generation of higher education presidents. Great for her. Brimmer is a member of the Rutgers Centers for Minority Serving Institutions, a competitive program developed by the Rutgers University Graduate School of Education. Congratulations, Suzette. Kudos to you. Next time we see you, we promise we're going to say congratulations in person, but we hope you're watching today. For more information on this, we'll have a link in our social media post. Real quickly, Tony, if they want to sign up, if students want to sign up for more classes before the spring ends, they can do so, but they got to do it now.
Yes, Second Start. It's a shorter semester, but it's still covering the same amount of stuff, but it's okay. And that's why they say Second Start. You got a second chance. We can do online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, in-person, hybrid lab, all kinds of ways to take the class. But because of COVID and everything, those classes, those in-person classes are very small, very small. So if you want to get the class you want to get, register now. Go to hccs.edu/now.
Okay, next week, we've got a packed week. We're also going to be kicking off our celebration of Black History Month. So that'll be happening throughout February. We've got special guests joining us on Monday. Our presidential welcomes will continue with Dr. Madeline Barillo-Hopkins, HCC's Southwest president. She'll be joining us on the show. And later in the week, one of our favorites, Niecy Hamilton, returning to give us the latest information about a very important subject, Houston's human trafficking problem. Niecy will be here on the show. A lot of things coming up next week. Have a great weekend. Tony will be here next week. I'll be back 10 a.m. live on Monday with Up to the Minute.